Greetings, duelists, and welcome back to the Underground. Or better yet, welcome back to two Undergrounds. So, today is April 7th, 2025, which means we are under the new Forbidden Limited list that took into effect. The first limited list that we've had in 2025. As a conclusion of this list, we've gotten a few hits. The Malice strategy is no longer at full power. And I kind of want to talk about these changes because after this event, or after this list has started, we got two events, two major events. One is YCX Mexico, which is on April 20th. And then we have YCS Rhode Island, which is on May 3rd. The reason this is a big deal is because YCS Mexico will be the testament to Malice's fate until the next event. The main reason for that is because on May 3rd, Alliance Insight will be legal, which means that the Malice strategy is going to be changing in a very meaningful way. But until that change arrives, this is the list that we need to go for, and we need to adapt to the list and the changes. So on the screen, you see some cards that got hit. Some are indirect hits to the Malice strategy, while some of them were very direct hits. The direct hits were Underground, Dormouse, and White Rabbit, while the indirect hits were Link Decoder, Dimension Shifter, Nightmare Griffin, Bestial Druisworm. Triple Tactic Talents and Crossout Designator are honorable mentions. You'll see later with my explanations why these are honorable mentions. There's a lot to cover. The last episode I did prior to this one was related to the OCG Forbidden and Limited list that addressed Malice. And I have to say, the TCG hits were very different. I feel like Malice got way weaker in the TCG than they did with the OCG. And let's go over a few of them. So, we won't go too much in depth involving the consistency hits. Underground, Dormouse, and White Rabbit 2 is just around the same length as Dormouse Limited in the OCG. If you saw the last episode, we talked about how we do have some notable replacements for consistency. I won't go over that detail too much. If you want to know my thoughts on that, you should go and watch episode 9. One note that I will make is specifically with sign-up mining. And the reason for that is because on this Forbidden Limited list, we got back MathMech Circular. MathMech Circular does impact the Malice strategy. This is a very, very powerful card. This card has been seen play in the OCG, both in Malice and in Ryziel. And yeah, like, the reason Circular is very, very important to talk about is because this card on its own has too many layers of interactions. They provide too many extenders. They provide very powerful end boards. It provides like one card OTKs that plays through a lot of interruptions. Yeah, MathMech Circular is no joke. Whether or not this will be played in Malice and will be cemented in Malice is very soon to tell. Uh, Malice being a cyber-centric strategy doesn't mind the company of Circular and Friends. Uh, the caveat of using Circular is that some of the Circular cards, or the cards that revolve around Circular, do Cybers lock you. But the entire Malice archetype are Cybers, so it really doesn't hurt them that much. In fact, it even benefits them post-Alliance Insight. The next thing I want to talk about involves the honorable mentions. With Crossout Designator Limited, uh, the hand trap wars with Malice are going to become significantly weaker. And I will go into context because Crossout and Talents are not the only real outliers here. But yeah, in the past, you would play a lot of Malice strategies were playing Crossout Designator, specifically to target Artifact Lancia. With this card already being limited, Lancia resolving will happen way more often than not. And that's not good news for Malice players. The next thing I want to talk about is probably the biggest hit on this list, and that is Link Decoder Forbidden. So, to take into context, this card is not hit in the OCG. This is a new avenue for Malice, and it's very, very strong that we lost this card, because by losing Link Decoder, Bestials are still an extender that can get you to your Malice plays through hand traps. However, the interactions with your opponent become way weaker after you get initially hand trapped. The one thing that Link Decoder did for us is it gave you a free body, as well as a way to insulate you from common hand traps into stuff like Dormouse. Now without that, you no longer have this free body anymore when you make a Malice Link 3. So you're gonna have to dig into replacements. These are the replacements that I mainly had in mind. There are a few other ones, but these are the most important. And the reason these 5 are more important than other Link ones is specifically behind the context of backup ad ignister. In the OCG, a very common play would be turning any of your Malice starters, or turning redundant copies of backup ad ignister into Link Decoder, and then use backup ad ignister to just get into your Malice name, and you just combo off that way. So if we go here and talk about the Link monsters, we have a few issues. Salamangreat Balinx is only good if we're playing Salamangreat cards, and I don't think Salamangreat is a really good hybrid to be paired with Malice. Link Disciple is another one that we can play, but the issue with Link Disciple is that this card doesn't generate enough value if you're not pairing it up with Link Devotee. But if you play Link Devotee, you cannot summon Link 3 or higher Link monsters, which means you are locked out of using getting into your Malice Queens, and that is also a really big deal. That leaves us with Almirage and Lingerevo. So, Salamangreat Almirage is a very cool one. A really big upside with Salamangreat Almirage. If you've seen my Yummy video in this channel, it means that in a world post-Alliance Insight, hand traps can be used as play starters into bridging to your Malice engine because of backup at Ignister. However, one really big issue with Summon Great Almirage is that it specifically asks for a monster with 1,000 or less attack. Let's say, for example, you actually resolved Dormouse effect. Dormouse becomes 1,500 attack, which means it cannot be used as a link material for Summon Great Almirage. Which pretty much leaves us to one last option, and that one is Lingeribo. I think Lingeribo is probably going to be the replacement for Link Decoder for a number of reasons. The first reason is this card can negate trap cards. And this context is very important because it means that it can play around Infinite Impermanence as well as Dominus Impulse. The issue with Lingeribo is that it plays harder into other hand traps. For example, Nibiru the Primal Being, Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. You can no longer chain block other hand traps, like for example Mourner or Ash Blossom. So yeah, losing Link Decoder is a really big deal. Malice players are going to have to experiment when it comes to like crafting their end boards, because not only is Link Decoder gone, we also lost another Bestial. With Drua's Worm now limited, you're gonna have to think twice whether or not to play the Bestials. On a brighter note, we do have other replacement engines that can serve as other extenders alongside the Bestials. And most of these extenders play well into Artifact Lancia. Now we have another debate, and that is the debate of whether or not you play Lubellion. And at first, the answer seems very, very simple, but in reality, that answer is not as simple. Simpler terms will think you're probably playing Lubellion to replace the missing Bestials. But here's the thing. Lubellion is not as reactive as the other Bestials. Lubellion cannot be paired with Dominus Impulse, which is another really big deal. And Lubellion is not a real defensive card, it's mostly an extender. Prior to the Forbidden Limited list, Lubellion was popularized in the Fiendsmith version of Malice, but now leaves the debate whether or not you still play Lubellion in the Fiendsmith version of Malice. As a side note, the Fiendsmith version was already playing one White Rabbit, so maybe replacing that White Rabbit is warranted, because with only 2 Dormouse, 1 Rabbit, and 1 Cat, you're not going to see those Malice names enough times to justify playing it as a hybrid. One small note that I want to make before the end of this video. I think post-Alliance Insight, if you stay tuned into all my underground videos and you saw the first one, now having main deck Malice hits warrants and a second look into the added Nestor engine. So don't be surprised if you see this actually be played in future Malice strategies post Alliance Insight. But that's it. That's all I wanted to cover for today. Today's video is strictly theorizing and explaining the gravity of the situation. The next episode will most likely be proof of concept and showcasing how Malice has adapted to the format. Until then, keep practicing and keep dueling.